How's it going, everyone? And it seems like the PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility rumors on PlayStation 5 are getting a little bit more interesting, as Sony has filed a brand new patent in regards to backwards compatibility. We'll talk about that. On top of that, interesting JRPG just got leaked by Xseed. Right off the top, as noted on Respawn first, Sony and Mark Cerny, the architect behind PS4 and PS5, might be dropping PS3 backwards compatibility as a brand new patent that was filed earlier this year. However, its first publication was June the 27th, titled Backwards Compatibility Testing of Software in a Mode That Attempts to Induce Skew. The patent itself describes timing testing mode. This mode is designed to deliberately induce skew, basically creating timing variations that might mess with how software runs. Obviously, software on PlayStation 3 is super interesting because while the PlayStation 3 isn't this console that pushed incredible visuals by today's standards, obviously it's a console that's a few generations old. Those of you that aren't familiar with the PS3 might be wondering, why is this such a holy grail? Why is the PlayStation 3 the one console that everybody talks about that is difficult to get backwards compatibility done with? Well, it's because of the PlayStation 3's cell architecture. Now, I am not a software engineer. I am not here to pretend like I am, but what I always heard growing up is that the PlayStation 3 was a little bit more difficult to develop for, based on its cell architecture, and in fact, in a lot of cases, multi-platform games would look slightly worse on the PlayStation 3. However, the developers that really figured out how to utilize the PS3, namely the exclusives, those games looked phenomenal for that generation. I'm talking about a Killzone 3, I'm talking about an Uncharted 2 and 3, Last of Us 1, so on and so forth. The games that could really push the PlayStation 3, they looked incredible for that time frame. However, creating backwards compatibility, that seems to be the issue. Again, I'm not a software engineer. I'm not here to break down the nitty-gritty of why the PlayStation 3 is difficult to emulate or do backwards compatibility with, and obviously, it's possible to emulate. RPCS3 is a thing on PC. However, let's not pretend that RPCS3, while it is incredible, it's not a completely, issue-free solution to emulate PS3 games. But given that, some people were able to figure it out with RPCS3, you would think that Sony, Mark Cerny, and everybody involved could figure it out with the PlayStation 5 running PS3 games, and, hopefully they do get that done, because I'll reiterate over and over again, the PlayStation 3 is one of the more underrated consoles in terms of its exclusive offering. And if you really want to talk about where first party really started to get recognition as tremendous, as, Sony can't go wrong with their first party, I would say it was with the PlayStation 3. That's where Uncharted 2 was beloved. That's when Last of Us came out. That's when Killzone came out. That's when Infamous came out. All of these first party studios really got over in the PlayStation 3 era. Sure, they put out games in the PS2 era that were tremendous. Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, so on and so forth, but I do think there was a level above with the PS3 titles that also parlayed into that PlayStation 4 generation, and you want those games to be preserved. Not only, the first party titles, there's games like Bleach Soul Resurrection, there's games like 3D Dot Game Heroes, there's games like Metal Gear Solid 4, Metal Gear Rising, and I'm sure with those latter two titles, Konami's gonna do something in getting those games onto PlayStation 5 in their own way, and let's be honest, charging a premium for, but nonetheless, those are the types of games I want to see preserved. Heavenly Sword, yes, it's a Ninja Theory game, you'd have to work with Microsoft to figure it out, but we can get that done. Hi-Fi Rush is on PS5, we can figure all this stuff out. Let's remaster Warhawk. Screw the live service games. Screw Concord. Let's get a remastering of Warhawk, and let's bring back the servers on Warhawk. Let's bring back the servers on Massive Action Game. Okay, that's a joke, but you get the idea. I just have a soft spot for the PlayStation 3 because in my teenage years, those summer breaks in high school, I was knee-deep into the PS3 library, and I remember staying up until 5 in the morning playing Killzone 2, and obviously, I'll be a little bit biased towards the PS3 all my life, given that there's so much nostalgia for me attached to it, but nevertheless, it looks like we are inching closer and closer to the holy grail that is PS3 backwards compatibility. And you know what? If you want to offer much more value with PlayStation Plus Premium, adding PlayStation 3 titles would be exactly the way to do it. So that would be a great offer. And I'm not talking about upping the price of PS Plus Premium, although Sony might get a little wild and they might up the price of PlayStation Plus Premium. Look, if they're adding Infamous 1 and 2, Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time, and all these games into their Plus Premium catalog, yeah, they might be looking at that as a prime opportunity to up the price of Plus Premium. You guys know how Sony operates these days. Alright, moving on from that, a couple things to note. Ys Memoir, The Oath and Felghana looks to be coming west. Now, Ys Memoir, The Oath and Felghana is a remastering of Ys Oath and Felghana, which I personally played the game on the PlayStation Portable. Ys Oath and Felghana was originally released in 2010 on PSP and quickly became known as one of the best games in the action RPG series Ys. This is an HD remaster version that includes some never-before-seen elements and is sure to delight fans of the original. Event scenes fully voiced and long-awaited voiceover added for Adol the Adventurer. In addition to voiced events featuring over 30 characters, a new voiceover has been added for the main character in Adol. New visuals have been added, HD remastering and higher sound quality, 3 different soundtrack options to choose from, high-speed mode, and support for beginners, and permanent bonus reversible jacket. And then on top of that, this has been only available in Japan, but Xseed, in a now-deleted tweet, noted time is running out to play our demos and cosplay photo op. Only one day left to play the demos for Ys Memoir, The Oath and Felghana, and a couple of other titles, but Ys Memoir, The Oath and Felghana is the game of note here, and it looks like it will be coming to PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Switch, given that that's available in those platforms in Japan. You know, nice to see Ys get more support over here stateside. Franchises like Ys and even franchises like Tales of a decade ago, those were the franchises that weren't getting a lot of love stateside. Yes, you would get a couple of Ys titles here and there on the PSP, Ys 7, you would get Ys Memories of Celceta on PS Vita, so on and so forth, but it wasn't at a consistent level. That is seemingly changing with Ys 8, Ys 9, and Ys 10 all coming out, you know, not day and day with the Japanese releases, but relatively quickly after. Ys 10 coming out later this year, Ys 9 came out a few years ago, and Ys 8, I think, got a lot of people into the franchise as well. Just seeing that level of consistency with franchises like Ys, with franchises like Legend of Heroes, even Tales of, again, back in the day, we were waiting years to get titles like Tales of Xillia over here stateside, and some titles would just never come out stateside, but that has seemingly changed. Like, if you're a JRPG fan, the world we're living in now is so much better than when I grew up in that PlayStation 3 era where we were scratching and clawing trying to get, you know, the Tales of games over here and trying to get some of the Ys titles. And Tales of Vesperia, for example, got a PlayStation 3 release in 2009 in Japan. Didn't come to a PlayStation platform until 2019 with Tales of Vesperia, the Definitive Edition. You guys that are JRPG fans, maybe a little bit younger and don't remember a decade ago, or even over a decade ago, really 15 years ago, you know, you're living much better in terms of getting these games. Like, think about the fact that Final Fantasy 13, yes, a mainline Final Fantasy game, had a 6-month delayed release over here in the West. That would never happen anymore. That ain't ever happening again. You know, the world has changed, and Square Enix is gonna make sure the Final Fantasy games are out, you know, the same day on, over here in the West as they are in Japan. But good time to be a JRPG fan, and while Oath and Felghana certainly isn't gonna be the biggest one in the world, it's still one to be relatively excited about. But that is gonna do it for me. Again, it looks like there's more smoke to the fire when it comes to PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility on PS5. That would be absolutely enormous. And if you can get that back catalog into Plus Premium, would offer a lot of value as far as that's concerned. And Ys Memoir, The Oath and Felghana is looking to come over here stateside. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.